Everybody, welcome back to Badass Farmer, and today is gonna be a special day because I got my hills done and I'm ready to put some plastic and some drip tape, so it's time to go to work. Alright guys, so today, once I got my hills done, I decided this year, because we're trying to avoid doing the tilling. I'm really not a huge fan of tilling just because it does disturb the soil, the microbiology of the soil. So we're trying to get out of that type of farming and more into no-till type of farming. So I just went straight to hilling with this. I used my hiller to make these rows. They're roughly about a little bit over 200 feet long. Just in this section we have about 26-ish rows, so once I had my hills done, then I started putting my plastic and my drip tape down first to get everything set up and ready. But what I did was I spaced them out, each row from center to center, about 7 feet. We're looking to do around 6 feet. We could probably squeeze another row out of that, but I wanted to play it safe because we are planning to grow quite a bit of cherry tomatoes, and I know they're going to bush out, so I want to take that into consideration when you're trying to work in between the rows when it comes to weeding. So you know, you got to be practical in terms of, you know, having a good workspace for, you know, not just weeding but harvesting and all that kind of stuff. So as you can see over here, I got the plastic already laid out, and one thing I did first, I put the drip tape down first, and then once I had the drip tape down, I started rolling the plastic. And unfortunately, I don't have a plastic layer. That's one of the toys I hope to get at some point. And the nice thing about a plastic layer is that if you get it with the drip tape adapter, you can actually put the drip tape and lay down the plastic all at the same time. Basically what it does, it has a little arm that kind of is like a little pipe that you can stick the drip tape in, and it actually digs into the soil, and you can put it to, you know, 4 to 6 inches, depending on what your preference is, into the soil. That way that drip tape is going directly to the roots of whatever you're planting. So let's take a closer look at the drip tape so you can kind of know what we're working with, and the plastic, and we'll talk a little bit about that before we get going. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is the drip tape here, and as you can see, these blue lines are kind of an indication to where the drip tape or the drip water, you know, the water is going to be coming out of. For this particular one, not sure if you can see this, but you can see a little slice right there, and that's basically where the water will be coming out at, and they're spaced out every 8 inches. Now I did it that way just because it was more convenient, because I can use it for other types of things, because I plan on growing peppers, which are going to be closer together. You can get these at 12 inches apart, 18 inches apart, but it's made by Toro. You can pretty much find this product almost anywhere. Let me zoom in over here. This is an 8 mil 8-inch drip tube, and basically what this is that once you put this down, it's not made for long term, so you don't have to remove it at the end of the season. Same thing with the plastic. But for the orchard tubing, we use a thicker type for blueberries and things like that. But for this particular one, we strictly use something that's going to be, you know, taken out at the end of the year, because none of this stuff is permanent. This whole section is basically, you know, going to be one particular vegetable 1 year, then we'll cover crop another vegetable will be planted here the following year. So it's a constant rotation. So as far as the plastic goes, and this roll, before I forget, is 7,500 feet long. So you can get them at different sizes, and just depends on how much you need, how long your rows are going to be, and all that. The plastic is a 3-foot plastic, and this is poly, made by Poly Expert Inc. And you can find this, you know, different places, really, you know, depending on where you are. If you can find them locally, you're better off. And this is about a 7,000 foot long piece of plastic, and it's 1 mil. You can get them thicker. We do have a thicker one for our strawberries, because the thicker one is what's needed for the strawberries, because they're a longer crop, meaning that, you know, they're going to be in there for over a year. Where this is the same thing, you have to plant them in the spring. By the end of the harvest, it's got to be pulled out, because it will biodegrade. And if you're in an organic environment, certified organic, you don't want this stuff biodegrading on your field. I really, you know, don't want to use this. I really want to try to move more into no-till farming. We're trying to look at more methods that I've, you know, seen a lot about, using a crimper, doing a lot of cover crop, laying that cover crop down after it, you know, kind of dies. It kind of provides as a weed suppression. But there's a lot more cost into that startup wise, which I don't have at the moment. And so we're trying to, you know, do what we can do using the plastic, because when it comes to the weeds, if I were to just plant this stuff, meaning the vegetables, the tomatoes and peppers, without using plastic, I could do that. And I did do that a little bit last year. But when you're talking, I mean, we're talking about a big scale here, because if you don't do that, you have to depend on weeding, at least for me, using a hoe, a garden hoe. And that, you know, it's a lot of labor. And, you know, weeding in between the rows is going to be enough. And then having to deal with you know, in the rows is going to be, you know, there's only so much one person can take. And I love my wife, and I don't want her to leave me if I put her to work too much. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much it for the plastic and the drip tape.
What
like
about
I said,
where the drip tape goes into in the beginning? You know, if the poly?
the wood. Oh yeah, yeah. This drip tape will be attached to our poly tubing system, which is connected to our well. We have a poly tube that is going to be fished out and brought over here, which we haven't gotten to that point yet. We have the actual hookup set up, and that poly tubing is nice. It's better. It's more flexible than using PVC pipe. PVC pipe will crack, and you know, I'm going to be planting or putting that poly tubing in the ground at least 2 feet over here. But I'll have to show that on a different video. But for now, let me just go ahead and show you how we pull the, you know, the drip tape. And basically all I'm doing is Kathy's going to hold this big roll while I pull it all the way down, and then once I start getting the plastic on, I'm going to try to guide the drip tape into the ground while I roll it and then shovel the sides. So it's going to be some work, but you know, that's what farming is. It's about, you know, getting some work done. So before I start yapping off anymore, let's get on to it. All right, I got the drip tape lined up in the center, and what I'm going to do, and as you can see, it's all the way down the row, and I'm going to tie it at the end. The irrigation is going to come from this area here once I get my poly tubing hooked up over here, which I'm going to have to do on a later time. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to grab this plastic, and as I'm pulling back, I'm kind of digging with my hand and putting this drip tape under the soil, sort of. Okay, it's not perfect, but you know, for purposes of trying to get things done, because I want that water where the root is, and ideally, you know, with the doing this with the tractor, with the plastic layer, it would lay the plastic down. It has kind of like these shovels that pull the soil in on top of the plastic on the sides, and in this case, you know, I'm just doing it by hand, so it's going to be a lot slower and a lot harder. But let me just kind of show you as I go here. And I try to pull this tape tight, that way it's not too loose. All right. And then what I'll do is I'll come over, grab my shovel, and for me, this is what I do just to kind of get it as tight as possible. I kind of step on the plastic. I'll get a little bit of dirt. And as I move back, I keep my foot. So then the same thing will be done on the other side. Okay, and if you look, you can see this is pretty decent. It's not as super tight as I would want it, but the hill on this side isn't as high, but it's good enough. The main thing is that this plastic gets covered on the side like that with the soil, because if not, that wind's gonna come, eventually get underneath of that flap, start pulling at it, and next thing you know, your whole entire row of plastic is gone. And trust me, you don't want that, because you know, if that plastic comes out and your stuff is early, you can actually endanger a lot of your stuff. It's been a long winter. Hasn't been a cold one, except for the last month or so. But I'm hoping then that will not be a bad thing, because the one thing that sucks about not having a good strong frost is that the bugs tend to be a lot worse in the spring. Mainly the stink bugs. The stink bugs are just a nightmare, and when you're trying to do things organically, there's not too much out there besides I think it's Pyganic that can deal with the stink bugs. And the stink bugs love my cherry tomatoes and any kind of like dark tomato, really. I mean, that's what they'll go for first. Trust me, they'll start going after a bunch of other stuff, but when it comes to like the tomatoes, they love the dark tomatoes. So we'll see how it goes this year. So hopefully I can get some praying mantis on the prowl. My favorite insect of all time. All right, guys, that's it. Hope you guys are out there doing your thing, and I'll be posting more videos as the season continues, and so stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.